Familiar with the last time this happened? It was in the 2016 finals. Remember, the Cavaliers came back from a 3-1 deficit against Steph Curry and the Warriors.
All right, now to another game 3 with the series.
There has been talk with Steph, the legacy talk. Mm-hmm. I don't love all the legacy stuff.
Yeah.
But it is interesting. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to give Steph a notch up to Mount Rushmore automatically because of Game 7. But position here, I think, to...
Do you think in this conversation?
Yeah, he's already probably there. He's already there. If everything else plays out the same way?
Yep.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The only thing I don't know about that is the domino of the Kevin Durant effect, right? So, does he still go? So, basically what you're saying is if they win that series,
yep,
does Durant still go? We'll never know the answer to that. A lot of people say no. Maybe he would have anyway.
Yeah.
So, if you're saying take that away, assume they win that championship, and everything else since then plays out exactly the same way, then I think there's great debates to be had. Magic probably for me would be of those other guys. Kobe, I think Kobe's in that discussion. You can't say Kobe's not in the mix for one of those spots. Is it Wilt? Some people would put Wilt Chamberlain there. I struggle with that because it's harder for me, I'll be honest, with guys that I just never saw play. It's just harder for me. I can go look at all the stats I want to, but I can also go look at how many teams are in the league and what the competition look like and all that too. It's harder for me, but some people would put him there just based on the statistical dominance. There's such incredible separation with what he did. So I think he'd be in the mix. Is Curry approaching that?
For me?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Even without a championship this year.
Can you ever recall a guy that was already a great player climb this?
Prove that we could figure it out, and overcome some of those challenges that we've had, and that's the beauty of a series and having an opportunity to throw this one in the garbage and move on.
You take anything away from this game into the next game? Is there any lesson learned from this game, and what is it if so?
Play better. Draymond, what sort of explanations have you got through the playoffs of what's the interpretation of what's a block and a charge?
You don't really get explanations these days.
Well, I guess how do you adapt to different interpretations?
I won't adapt. I'm going to keep playing the same defense I've played for 11 years.
Dre, is there a way you can get, considering how they're calling it, that you guys can get more free throws yourselves?
I don't know.
Does not, but in people's eyes, he's not going to win 2 more.
Correct.
And leapfrog Michael Jordan.
Correct.
Because everybody's always going to bring up the losses without any context.
Yeah, I just think that's the way it's going to be for him. So he's locked in at 2, and he's not going to get caught.
That's what I think too.
He's not getting caught from behind. Wait, what happened now? 3rd? Yeah. What happened here? That's not going to happen either. That's why I think he's kind of locked in. His legacy's very cemented, and this will be great. It may be one of the crown jewels of his career to pull this off with that team.
Yeah.
And beat Steph in the process.
Of the other, 5 losses, right? We go 07. He dragged that team to the finals. That Pistons team that they beat
that starting
were
lineup.
so good.
Yeah, look at the starting lineup he was playing with in Cleveland.
They were so good.
Yeah.
So then you have 11, you have 14. That Spurs team. Tell me at that point in time, with the way they played that series, who's beating that basketball team? It was a great team coming out for revenge, all that stuff. 15, Love gets hurt in the first round. Kyrie gets hurt, breaks his kneecap, so they're playing, with Matthew Dellavedova chasing stuff around. They don't really have an offense. Mozgov is starting that series. It's just whatever, And then he has the 2 years against fucking KD and Steph and the Warriors. So it's I don't buy any of this asterisk we don't believe there is. I haven't heard a compelling enough case, but with LeBron, there's always that. I think in 16. They bring up the Draymond thing. The haters. He won the 2020 is a fluke win because it was the bubble.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then Steph and KD, for whatever reason, well, I know the reason, but they get discredited for 17 and 18 because no one was going to beat that fucking team. I think truthfully, I think you put those 2 teams against any team in NBA history, and they're probably winning a 7-game series.
I agree with that.
And that's not a knock on the Bulls. I'll say that's probably the 2nd best team of all time, right?
Right. Curry, top 20 for sure. Some people might have said top 15. I don't think a lot of people were saying top 10 prior to last season. They win another championship post Durant. He has, maybe the most important game of his career in Game 4 in Boston, right? With dropping 43 down 2-1. So they get through that. And now here we are again. Now, look, is it going to take winning a championship to do that? Yeah, probably. He needs to maybe add one if we start to talk about Mount Rushmore category. That there's a lot of work left to do. He might not even get through this series, so we got to see how that plays out. But my point is to go from, say, 20th to now a guy that we're talking about possibly being in the top 5. He did all of that groundwork in the last couple of years, really, is when he elevated to this level. You just typically don't see that for guys in their mid-30s to have that much more to grab. That's what I've said all along. He's got more to gain from this whole thing, this whole discussion about him and LeBron in this series and where these teams go than LeBron does. See, I think LeBron is had
to do it with Kareem and James Worthy. And Bill Russell had to do it with John Havlicek and Bob Cousy and Sam Jones and Bailey Howell. I don't
I love a Bailey Howell reference when I didn't see it coming.
That.
No, that's tremendous.
I was going to say to that, and this is sort of to the point of the Giannis comments from last week. Like Bron losing to those teams, that season is a success. Like get those Cavs teams in 17, like that was like objectively a successful season, even if you don't have a championship. And so that does feel like you're looking at the whole body of work. It's not just like, oh, championship or this is an L.
It's amazing to me because, look, there's a whole faction of people out there, obviously, that's kind of what you alluded to, that are just critical of LeBron, no matter what he does, no matter what, happens in his career. Despite all of that, and probably being the most hyped player in the history of this league to enter the league, I don't put out players I loved so much that were like my idols to watch LeBron kind of chasing them, catching them, admitting that he had surpassed them. Larry Bird being top of the list. Larry Bird not only was my favorite player and athlete, Larry Bird, this is not an overstatement, Larry Bird changed the course of my life because I was going to be a Major League Baseball player. That was my thing. I mean, legit. I could throw 90s in hcome school.
This sounds familiar.
That was my path. My dad was a baseball coach, right? And then I start watching this dude, come into the league right at the exact same time I went into high school. And I played both sports, but basketball was definitely secondary to me. And just watching those teams, and it wasn't just the Celtics team, it was watching the Lakers too. The way that they played, the rivalry, the competition. I sitting there watching all those games with my dad. It just changed what I wanted to do. And hoop and shoes, and I'm good. I'll see you guys in about 8 hours. Right? That's and it was perfect. Taylor, like small forward. These small forward talk, it's like, oh, wait a second, man. I got to put him above Bird. At some point, it just got so obvious, like you couldn't make that argument anymore.
Couldn't hide your bias.
It was hard for me.
You couldn't hide your bias.
Now, and I played against Jordan a lot, and my whole career was the 90s. The guy won 6 rings. He kind of, didn't give anyone else a chance during that time. He's not going to pass him for me in my mind. Yeah. He's just not. And it's not even about winning rings at this point. It's just about the player. I played against that guy. I've watched this guy a lot. It's Jordan. That's why I say, for me, he's cemented where he is. If you talk about historical ranks, obviously he can still win more rings. Who knows how long he's going to play? But we're going to look at him historically, I think he's going to be number 2 no matter what. Now, you asked me about my Mount Rushmore. Let's go.
Oh,
so you got 4 names.
I have the same.
How many do you get to like this without any hesitation?
I think part of it is you got to look at MVPs, finals MVPs, championships, the personal accolades, the All-Stars. And Jordan obviously are easy. 4th, I'm the same as you, man. I don't like. I'm maybe missing somebody here. I've got like 9 other names written down, 8 other names written down. So I think Curry's in the conversation. I even without a championship this year, Tim Duncan, Kobe, Larry, Magic, Wilt, Russell, and I'll throw Shaq in there, man. I will throw Shaq in there. I think Shaq's peak. Are we talking about peak? Was as dominant.
Oh yeah.
And I was in high school when he was winning those championships with the Lakers.
Yeah.
Didn't fit 4 fouls, whatever it may be. I think he's in the conversation too. I ultimately go with Magic. Right now, today, I go with Magic.
Yeah.
But I think I lean probably. This is just me, based on that stuff. I lean towards Kobe, Curry, if I was to take Magic out of there.
Yeah, and so I'm not shocked. You and I kind of saw this exactly the same way.
You hear that, Jason? You hear that? You heard it? Okay.
Because player, we're just talking about like skill set, right? And dominance individually as a player. Then career is like a lot goes into that, man. Like longevity, winning, all that kind of stuff, right?
Random luck.
All right, that too.
When we talk about the team stuff.
Definitely.
some random luck in there.
And I thought Kareem had the best basketball resume of all time until LeBron.
Yeah.
And some people might say he still does, because I did this one trivia question. It was, there's one guy left standing 6-6, and it's Kareem. Plus all-time leading scorer in history league, plus 3 national championships in college. You're going, that's the greatest basketball resume there is. Some people might say it still is. But now, and LeBron's got 4 rings. He's the all-time leading scorer. How many finals? 10, right? 10 finals?
10, yeah. 4
10?
and 6.
Yeah, so who's got the better basketball? Now, he didn't play college basketball, so he didn't have a chance to win national championships. I don't think he's winning 3. It was a little different back then. So who's got the better basketball resume, Kareem or LeBron?
You're blessed with one of the great rebounders of all time, all those role players. Like, I think that, I think the asterisks are stupid with these Lakers championships or championship. But I basically think that the idea that you've gone into 3 different situations and done this is pretty
It's
insane.
a compelling argument.
Now to sort of on the other side of playing. When I played, the game moved a certain way to me. 5 greatest all-time players, if they do end up winning a championship. I hate doing this, but I love your perspective on things. You're Mount Rushmore.
I think we're going to the rim. So, I don't know. Maybe we can, maybe we can't. We'll see.